What's going on, everybody? Got 2 games of TFT for you today. These are my last 2 games in my Masters clan. Uh, didn't have to use Street Demons at all to get there. Proud of that. There are a couple other lines you could play in the meta right now. I'm really just defaulting to Street Demons, 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman, Vexotech, and then sometimes Boombots. Unless I get like something that really sets me up for another line, I'm really just defaulting into like those 3 or 4 comps. You could flex around a little bit with the Vexotech line, even the Street Demon line slightly. You could flex a little bit with the Marksman Vanguard line, but I've found it really difficult to succeed consistently with many other comps this patch. I don't hate this patch, whatever. It's a little bit boring, it's a little bit solved, but I'm having fun just finally tuning how I play each of these comps. So it's whatever. This encounter with the treasure army is kind of inconsequential to how I'm going to approach this game. I like to have most of my items solved by that stage anyways, and I can't really predict what I'm going to get too much, so I'm just going to play standard for the most part this game. I picked Survivor for my silver augment because it didn't seem like none of the other ones were going to help me too much. I like lunch money, but my board isn't super strong right now, so I don't think I'm going to be able to take advantage of it that much. Survivor, 92 gold is just kind of ridiculous for a silver augment. It is kind of a 1st or 8th augment, because if you don't make it there, then you're just playing down on an augment the entire game, but it's just a silver augment, so whatever. 1st or 8th strategy. We ball. We do want to survive, so make sure to slam the Shiv right now. I scouted around. I think there's 2 other Street Demon players already, so can't force that this game. Didn't really have an opener for it anyways. I like to go into Morgana. Go into Vex every time I open with a Morgana too. She could hold items for Varus and Vex really easily. Like Shiv, red buff, Morello, blue buff, Guardbreaker, Hex deck. They're all fine on Morgana early. And then you could just split up the items whenever you get Vex and Varus later. Yeah, I'm just going to explain some of my thought processes in the video. Pick up an HP belt right here just because you always need a solid front line, almost in any comp. I've started to realize that building Sunfire is kind of a bait. Building Sunfire and Ionic is kind of just not that great. In certain situations, it's good to slam them, for sure. But especially with this team, Varus really likes Shiv and either Morello or red buff. And they're just not really good tank items. So I'd rather save all of my tank items, like my tank components, for solid tank items like Warmogs, Bramble, Declaw, Protectors in this case, since I'm going to be playing around Sejuani. Yeah, I really feel like your frontline in this elo, it just collapses if you don't have really solid tank items. So getting your utility like Shred, Sunder, and heal cuts, I feel like you usually want to do that through backline items. Give Morello, red buff, Last Whisper. I just feel like those items are better right now, or in this set. We do want Jax in our comp later, but want to make 30 gold right there, so just sell him off. Don't need him just yet. He'll come back. Don't want to sell off my pairs, so I just 3 level right there. I don't need this Jax on my board yet. I probably should have played the second Rost, but no big deal. Like I said, Morgana could hold whatever items. X-Tech isn't the greatest right now because she's not doing a ton of damage to begin with. But I don't want to be holding on to too many items on my bench. I could have slammed Morello right there. But then I really wouldn't have anything to do with the sword. So you have to think about your item economy and what you're going to be doing with all of your items throughout the game. And with this comp, the Vexotech comp, swords really do nothing for me until I get Urgot. And Urgot doesn't even need any sword items. Like Giant Slayer, Deathblade, Eye Edge, they're okay on him, but there's better items. Again, there I really just don't think I liked any of my silver augments. They're not going to give me a ton of combat power. So I just want to be able to hit 8 early, be able to roll down for a Vex 2, Sejuani 2, and stabilize my board. So I picked Fire Sale to give me a little bit extra econ. So yeah, we want Shiv, and then either Morello or Red Buff on Varus. We could move the Shiv over right now, but I don't think it's worth it just yet. I'd rather have a 2-item Morgana since she's leveled up. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but the guy at the bottom surrendered. I guess he really didn't like his opener. He had to pick Pandora's Bench as his first silver augment, so that game is kind of griefed anyways. Yeah, that's gonna help me proc the Survivor. It doesn't caught me out, because this is still a Diamond 1 game, everyone else is still playing really hard, so not just a free win, just because he surrendered, but it does make things a little bit easier. Still have to play hard and survive. For other people to die. I do make some mistakes in these games, obviously. Well, I'm just Masters and not Challenger. But I should have picked up this Jarvan right here. Put him in instead of the Jax. Jax is still doing nothing for me. Then next round I hit a Vi, so I could have put in 4 Vanguard. So that was a little bit of a mistake. You always have to anticipate things like that. Yeah. Even though J4 is not going to be part of my final comp and I'm not going to need him in like 2 rounds. I should have picked him up right here anyways, just to have him in for the next round. Or this round too. It would have been better than Jax. Honestly, it may have won me the fight right there. Really close. Yeah, I could have picked up that J4. Then when I get this Vi, I don't know why I thought about this now and not last round, but I could have had 4 Vanguard there. A little bit of a mistake, but whatever. Scouting around. Thankfully that guy's playing Cypher, so it's pretty likely that he just dies pretty quickly as well. if he's not able to stabilize after his cash out. I don't know if it was this game or another game, but I think it may have been this game. There's also two people contesting each other for Twisted Fate. And there was another guy forcing Bane or something. I don't know if that was this game or I'm getting them mixed up, but honestly, like, the lobby kind of just fucking griefed. Slam the blue buff. We know we don't want Ionic. We just want a Hex tech. We already have the Hex tech. So we're going to reforge the extra rod. Still have an extra rod. Don't know what we're going to do with it. Oh no, that's the one that changes, so we're good. So we're good to slam the Morello, Warmogs. Thinking about putting the Shiv on Varus right now, but still don't have the Vex, so we just have to put the blue buff and X-Tech back on Morgana. I don't want to waste a remover. That attack speed buff goes straight onto Varus, because even though Vex is going to be my main carry, Varus just uses the attack speed a lot better. And I could save it for Urgot, but that's just way too far away. And I don't want that value just sitting on my bench forever. So I think it was the right move to just slam it onto Varus right away. So with our remaining items, we want to finish up Guard Breaker for Vex with that crit glove. And then we don't really know what we're doing with the sword or bow, but I'm thinking we're just going to start planning out Urgot items. Because if we cash out our 92 gold from Survivor, we could go straight to level 9, roll a ton, and have Urgot in. So I'm thinking about just building Urgot items. Axiomark is really, really good on Vex, even if she's really the only unit that's benefiting from it. She's my main carry, and it's just ridiculously good on her. She's going to be spamming her ability like crazy. Helps a little bit on Varus and my other units too, but mainly good for Vex. Thieves Gloves is always good when you're playing Exotech because it counts for 3 full items. So you could just get like... I usually throw it on Mordekaiser because he's not my main tank or carry, so I don't really care what items are on him, but it's just nice to have that buff. It's 4-2 and a lot of other people rolled it down to 0 right here. Or stabilized their bulwarks with the reroll, like this guy. So I'm going to be a little bit weak right now. I'm playing a little bit greedy. I probably should have rolled down to 0 too to find my Sejuani and Vex too. But I'm playing a little bit greedy right now. I think I like my front line enough to where I know I'm not going to get steamrolled, even though I just got steamrolled last round. So, just holding on to a little bit of my money. I do want that Aurora in on my final board at level 9. However, she's just not worth holding on to right now. I want to make Econ. She's too expensive to hold on to. And she's really not going to do much for me right now. She doesn't do a lot unless you have a good 5 cost to pull in. And I'm level 8, so I don't really think I'm going to pull in any good 5 costs. And if I do, they're going to be 1 star and they're just going to die before they even get their ability off. So Aurora's not that good by herself, and I just don't think she's going to do that much at this point in the game. So keep in Morgana for the Dynamo, and she'll come back later. Obviously, I wanted that Zac. You always want Zacs early, so you could start stacking him, and he could flex into a lot of comps, but I didn't get it. Yeah, pick up the HP belt just to finish up Guard Breaker. It wasn't a bad pickup by any means. I wasn't disappointed by that carousel. Always nice to finish up your items. But it's time to roll down for the Sedge right here. Put in 4 Exo. Still not rolling down to 0 because I just don't feel like I'm that weak. I am kind of weak compared to the rest of the lobby, but playing a little greedy right here. Don't want to roll down to 0, don't want to screw up my econ. Vex unfortunately got sniped by the Zac, so you get steamrolled a little bit right here. Not too bad. I'm pretty sure I'm uncontested Vex. I think that's why I'm playing greedy. I don't really need to roll down before anybody else. I don't need to like beat anybody to Vex. But I am getting low right now, so even though we're 1 round away from neutrals, we just don't have enough health to be too greedy. When it comes to Sedge positioning, a lot of people are anticipating your Sedge. They'll randomly switch their units. They'll try to see where you're positioned. They'll work around it. So, I mean, you could definitely try to anticipate where people are moving, or just look at how many people are positioned on what side and position your Sejuani accordingly. But sometimes it's just a 50-50, honestly. Especially right now when you have like 3 potential opponents you could go into, and they're positioned on different sides. And they may be looking at you and swapping at the last second. Like, it's kind of just a 50-50. You could definitely try to manipulate it sometimes and try to catch people off guard if you look at them and they're not repositioning or whatever. Or you could try playing mind games. That helps sometimes. So I look at my items on my bench, and my Sejuani, Varus, and Vex are already fully itemized, and I don't really have anybody else I really want to itemize. So I'm going full risk mode right here and saying I'm just building Urgot items, even though I don't have an Urgot yet. I mean, it's really my only option with those items. What am I going to do? They're good Urgot items. At this point, it's kind of just a Prage. I hit Survivor. Could have Nico'd that. But then I was like, let's just roll down. Maybe I could hit Sej or Varus and just Nico the other. So if I hit like a free Sej 2 and was still 1 off Varus, I could have just Nico'd the Varus. Really nice roll down. Hit the Varus 3, Sej 2, and a nice little Jhin 2, so these items aren't completely wasted on him. Ooh, and Varus did 10k. Varus is really strong, you just have to have the right items on him. Like, seriously, you need... For the Exotech items, I would say Hollow Bow or Hyper Fangs. Nothing else works on him. And then you need Shiv, and then either Morello or Red Buff. Preferably Red Buff, just because it's a better damage item, I think. I don't know, Morello's fine. But either Hollow Bow or Hyper Fangs, and then Shiv, and then either Morello or Red Buff. Like, Giant Slayer, Shojin, Ginsu's, like, they're all bad on him. I've tried them all. Like, I only ever have success when I use those items that I said. So yeah, this lobby is actually really weak. I'm surprised scouting around. The D1 lobby. People are just weak for some reason. I mean, my board is not weak by any means. I have Sedge 2, Vex 2, Varus 3, all with good items. My board's not bad at all. Could probably hold up, even if these other guys were playing a little stronger, but this guy just got wrecked. I guess he's above 50 gold, so he just hasn't rolled down yet. I don't even know what he's aiming for, really. That guy has a good Twisted Fate board. Really would have liked that Urgot. I would have liked to put the protectors on Sejuani too, but oh well. Pick up a Dragon's Claw. We know there's a Street Demon, a strong Street Demon board, and we know there's a strong Twisted Fate board. So, even though we don't have a great person to put the Dragon's Claw on right now, we'll figure it out later. But the extra magic resist is going to be pretty helpful. So yeah, like right here I was able to scout around. And I noticed that one guy was forced to be shoved into the corner with his Street Demon board, and the other guy was just, the other guy that I'm fighting right now, was positioned all the way to the right, so I said there's a 2 out of 3 chance of my Sejuani having good positioning right here, so just gonna slam her right there. I don't think I need to put her all the way to the side. I don't know why I did that. I never do that. I could have had her 1 hex over still, but a narrow victory. There's our Survivor cash out. Go straight to 9 and start rolling. I'm really just flexing around Zac, Aurora, Urgot, and Kobuko for my last spot right here. Definitely need Urgot in with these items. Thankfully I found him last second. Be able to move the items last second. So this is where the game gets a little bit interesting for me. I have this extra spot on my board. I'm willing to ditch Gragas right now because he's kind of really good in early and mid game, but the extra buff he gives you is just not super relevant late game. The extra 100 health and 50 health from Divinicore, like it's really good early and mid game, but at this point in the game it's just not super relevant, so I really don't mind dropping him for a legendary. I could slot in Kobuko right now, but I guess Gragas 2 I'm thinking is better than Kobuko 1. Probably not. Kobuko gives really good CC. I have to do some thinking about what I'm going to do with this extra slot right now. Currently I want Zac in, just so I could start farming some blobs. But you'll see in a second, there's a more efficient way to do this. I think that was the guy I was talking shit on earlier. I guess he figured out what he was doing with his board. Wrecked me. I was thinking about going 10 here, but I was like, why would I do that? Let me just upgrade my actual legendary units and farm a crap ton of blobs with all this gold. So yeah, at this point, like, I really want this Aurora 2 in or Kobuko in. So, time to ditch Gragas. Nice Zac too. So for Aurora, you want her to pull in either Urgot, Kobuko, or Zac. Usually Kobuko or Urgot is like a Zac 1 is just gonna die. If you don't have items or blobs or an upgraded, Zac 1 is just gonna do nothing. Kobuko will at least ult at 50% health no matter what. So you could pull him in and he's gonna do something. So he's a good person to pull in. And then Urgot is okay to pull in just because he does really well with all the bonus attack speed that Aurora gives. And he stays back and you could usually like execute 1 or 2 champions. So I would say Kobuko's the best, then Urgot, and then Zac. Ooh yeah, baby. Usually people don't take spats at this stage because their board's already super figured out, but this just gives me a huge damage amp for my Urgot. Little Boombot emblem on my Zac. Have a little bit of fun. Obviously not the best item ever, especially on Zac, but gonna give my Urgot that damage boost, and it's gonna help me quite significantly. Just rolling down here for blobs right now. I really don't have anything else to hit. I have Aurora, Urgot, Kobuko, and Zac all leveled up, so the rest of my board's leveled up. Just rolling down for blobs now. I really like having a healing item on Urgot because he's so squishy. And like he's just useless if he's dead, so I really like throwing Hex Tech, Hand of Justice, or Bloodthirster on him. Usually you can't be too particular about Urgot items because you get him so late. Sometimes if you're planning around it super early and you know you can make it to 9 and find him, you could plan the items, but you really just have to throw whatever on him most of the time. I like having at least one healing item so he stays alive. Right here I'm just playing mind games, like I'm not even scouting, I'm just like playing the 50-50, and this guy decided to switch sides, so sometimes you just have to play the 50-50. Say, alright, I'm just gonna switch, I'm not even gonna scout. Let's do a last minute swap and try to hit. Yeah, this guy fucked me up the last 2 times I fought him, but now it's a different story. Yeah, I think the best part about this game is how I played around the 5 costs, the late game. Like I have 4 legendaries in play right now. 3 on my board. Pulling in the Kobuko is just icing on the cake. A lot of my recent games that I played to push to Masters involved Zac. Like, he's just so good. If you find him early, stack Bloblets, like he's just so busted. He's really tanky, he offers a lot of CC. When he splits up, he just delays fights and gives you that extra couple seconds you need. And if he's super tanky, he could do CC in his Bloblets form, like it's just too much. I am positioning him poorly right now though. You want Zac on the sides. You want Zac close to the edges, so when he bounces, he could potentially bounce onto a backliner. But that kind of depends too, because if it's too early in the game and he's too squishy, he's just gonna die if he's too far off to the side. So I'd say when you first get him, you want him in the center, all cozy, protected by your other tanks. And then once he's tanky enough to kind of survive on his own, then you could spread him out to the sides so he could hopefully jump onto one of the enemy carries. Alright, that was game 1. And on to game 2. It's 2 firsts in a row to get into Masters. And if you guys saw just now, there's a Grandmaster player in my lobby. I guess he's the final boss. My final trial. But yeah, I looked at his lol chest and he was on a slump. Like, graph was like, woo. 10, 15 losses in a row, so I kind of felt bad for him. He went 8th this game. I'm a huge fan of Keen. I watch all of his videos, and he loves AMP, and he gets so excited when he starts with like a Nidalee 2, but it's just like, I've tried the AMP comp so many times, and it goes well until I'm level 8 or 7, and I just don't have a Samira, and then I just bleed out the entire game because I don't have a Samira, and then I just go 8th because I never hit Samira. I've tried it like a good amount of times, and I've given up now. I don't know what the trick is. I watch all of his videos and he always hits a Samira at 7. Like, he just gets a Samira at level 7 somehow. And I'm like, alright, I don't know how to do that, so guess I'm not playing. I picked the dummy with the emblem just to give my board some direction right here. It wasn't really any good econ augments. I always love starting with econ augments. They're the best augments to take on 2-1. But there's no good one right there, so my next favorite thing to get on 2-1 is direction. So having an emblem basically tells me what I'm gonna play. I get the marksman emblem, so I'm just gonna play the typical 4 Vanguard, 4 marksman comp. But I'm just gonna drop Jinx. That'll allow me to have Aurora in my board earlier at level 8. And it'll also allow me to play around an extra legendary, Zac, always Zac, at level 9. So very nice. Usually you can't play any legendaries besides Aurora because you just don't have enough slots at level 9 this board. But I'm perfectly willing to just drop Jinx, keep 4 marksmen, play legendary instead. Obviously you keep Jhin in instead of Jinx because he has Dynamo for Aurora. Then you want your 2 4-cost marksmen. This team likes a lot of rods. Supposedly, best in slot Aphelios items are double Ginsus and Hextech, which is really good. I usually build that most of my games, and I think that's what the pros build and what you're supposed to build. But I have been experimenting with Ginsu's red buff Hextech, and I think it's a little bit better. Like, it just feels a lot better. I've had better results with it. Only thing is, like, it's a little bit harder to get because it's so many bows. I mean, you need a lot of rods for the other variation, but if you can get your hands on a ton of bows, try out red buff Ginsu's Hextech. I think it may be a little bit better on Aphelios. But yeah, same concept as last game. We're just going to throw all of our AD items, whether they're for Xayah or Aphelios. We're just going to throw them all on Jhin right now. because he could do well with pretty much anything. Yeah, since we know we're playing around a Phelios later, we want to have Golden Ox in as soon as possible so we could start getting those stacks in. Even though technically Braum or Rost would have been a little bit stronger, it's not that big of a deal, and I want Golden Ox in so I could start activating those intervals whenever I want to. I could have taken the sword augment, but I didn't want to end up with too many swords. Like, I already have Infinity Edge. I need one more for Hex Tech. And then, I mean, I guess I could build Giant Slayer or something on Xayah if I end up with too many swords, but my front line's decent right now. And I plan on prioritizing frontline items going forward, so Ascension's always decent if you could build up a good frontline. I know I'm going to have 4 Vanguard and probably Zac later, so I should be able to proc Ascension every fight. Well, proc it and it be useful, not just die right after. I said we just pick up the HP belt because we want defensive items. Since I have Ascension, building up my front line is really, really important. My backline items don't have to be super perfect or filled out if I have Ascension, and I'm able to just survive a little bit with it. I probably could have played this Braum over the Jhin just for the same concept, the Ascension concept. Like, as long as my Jhin survives with enough time ascended, like, I'll be fine. So I really don't need the extra Jhin in right now. I probably should have played the extra Braum for extra frontline, but whatever. Jhin is kind of a beast mid game, so never ever in a position to put AD items on him. Whether you're going into Exotech or Marksman, I think he's like the best AD item holder mid game since Vayne got nerfed. Even though I had no items on my bench, I just still picked Pandora's item there because I want full items on Xayah, Aphelios, Leona, and preferably Zac as well later on. So I want 4 champions fully itemized, so I actually just picked Pandora's right there for the extra item components. And it'll be nice being able to get best in slot too, if I don't like the items I dropped. So, pretty decent gold augment. I know a lot of other people would have picked a combat augment at this point in the game, but I think it just made a lot of sense in my spot. Even though we have Pandoras, we don't want to be waiting around on our items too much. You know we want a Hex Tech later, so that's a fine slam. We want a Protectors at some point. I don't know why I dropped that Senna. He's better than a level 1 Kindred, even though Kindred's marksman. Then I had Slayer, so that was just plain mistake. Should have kept Senna in. Better unit. But anyways. Yeah, we know we're good on those. And we have Pandoras, so just gonna reforge that. Maybe get something we could slam right now. I think Protector's Vow is one of the best defensive items right now. It's really good on Leona or any Vanguard. Really good on Zac, and it's really good on Sejuani. So definitely want to slam with Protectors. Yeah. I probably could have looked a little bit more at those gold augments, but I was thinking if I get a Zac or a Garen, I could just start stacking them up right now. That's always really nice to do. I'll put Garen in right now, even though I'm like, I think I backtrack on that decision, because what's Garen really gonna do for me in this comp? Like, I could put Golden Ox on Xayah, but I only have 2 Golden Ox. That's not that great. I can make Zac a Vanguard, but I don't even have Aurora in yet. So I think I have him in as a mistake right now. I think I'm just gonna take him out and not even play him this game. One thing I'm still trying to figure out with this comp is the best way to get Sunder, like armor shred, armor cuts, because Xayah is a single target damage dealer, so if she's not attacking the same unit as Aphelios, Aphelios could get stuck on an armor tank. Aphelios could spread Last Whisper well, but you really want more attack speed on him than anything. The Last Whisper, like, it's okay on him. And then you also want Last Whisper on Xayah because it's crit, and that goes nice with Infinity Edge. And it's like, okay, you could just build Even Shroud on a frontliner, but in my experience, you put it on like Braum or Jarvan, and they just die way too soon. And you don't want it on Leona because it's not a pure tank item, and you want pure tank items on Leona, so I'm still trying to figure that all out. What I've been doing is just putting the Last Whisper on Xayah, and it works out because either Xayah or Aphelios can cut through whatever other frontline units pretty quickly, as if they don't have a crap ton of armor, like a Bramble Vest or something. So they'll usually get through those units pretty quickly, and then Xayah and Aphelios will just be targeting the same unit with a bunch of armor, so they will end up being sundered, and it's not that big of a deal. And also, there's just not a ton of armor being played right now, because Street Demons are really popular, Twisted Fate is really popular, so a lot of people are building magic resist, like Dragon's Claw, and they're not prioritizing Bramble Vest as much. So usually you really don't even have to worry about armor that much in the first place. But yeah, you could always scout around, see what people are building, see if people are going into AD, see if they're building Bramble Vests, and then just go from there. You'd use the same logic with magic, like if everybody's playing Street Demon, Vexotech, and Twisted Fate, and it's a pure magic damage lobby, just only pick up Dragon's Claws and Negatron Cloaks. I usually like to have a good split between armor and magic resist on my tanks, just so they don't die too quickly to one thing or the other. But sometimes you could look at the lobby and just say, I don't need magic resist, or I don't need armor. Or shred, or whatever. That guy has 2 Z2s, but he's about to die, so not much to worry about. So again, with my Zac positioning right here, ultimately he's better on the edges, so he could bounce to the carries, but he's a Zac 1 without too many bloblets right now. So just keep him in the center so he's safe, and hopefully he could survive long enough to where all the front line is dead, and then he'll just bounce to the back line anyways. I could have Aurora in right now for Dynamo and Anima Squad. I think my board's strong enough without her. And I'd rather just have Zac in so I could farm as many bloblets as possible. I'll get her in next level. Zac likes mana defensive items, so I basically have best in slot for him right now. Protectors, Adaptive, Warmogs. He's just going to be casting like crazy. He's going to have a lot of defenses. Fine to hold on to Aurora right now. I was thinking about selling her for the econ, but I'm 38. I'll be above 50 soon enough, so I might as well just hold her. Yeah, like right there. Took Aphelios just a minute to cut through those other 2 units. But now Xayah and Aphelios are both targeting that Leona with the Bramble, and they were able to cut through pretty quickly. So I don't think you have to worry too much about how you're getting your armor shred. I just don't think Even Shroud's that great of an item right now. It's definitely... You could definitely slam it in some situations if you have no means of getting armor shred otherwise, but I think a lot of the times you'd rather build Last Whisper. Yeah, there's really nothing for me to upgrade right now. I'm not rolling for Zac 2 at level 8 because that's just a fool's errand. But I really have no other option but to just greed. I have 1 more life at least. I could take 1 more loss. So just planning on leveling next round. Going all in. I figure Zac's tanky enough to move him off to the side right now. That was a good decision here because he's going to get some nice bounces onto the back line, I think. Maybe not this fight. Oh yeah, see, his Urgot actually griefed his team right there because he pulled the Zac in, and then once Zac split, he was on top of the back line. Still lost the fight, but it was a funny little interaction. That may actually be a tech now that I think about it. Purposefully let your Zac get executed by Urgot. So he's right next to him and he could stun him. I don't know how easy that'd be to pull off intentionally, but could be a tech. Hit a lucky Aurora with our last bit of gold right there. Get that D-Claw. Yeah, Zac is still pretty squishy, but with those items, he was still able to get his ult off. It's really nice if you could put mana tank items on him. I don't even care about Aurora 2 at this point, because Aurora 2 versus Aurora 1 doesn't make that big of a difference. And I'd rather just have the money for Bloblets and to potentially hit Zac too. I make a last second decision to just open sell that Aurora, play a unit down, because having a Zac 2 is just going to be way stronger than having that Aurora. And there was one in the shop, so easily just lock it and put him in next round. Did the same thing again, that Urgot pulled in the Zacs, so we're already right on top of him when he split up. I think the Zac 2 was... I don't think I would have won that fight without a Zac 2. I think it would have just died too quickly. Not done his thing. So yeah, if you guys couldn't tell by now, Zac is the key to success. At least this patch, if not this entire set. But Zac is just a ridiculous unit. You can get him early and stack him up. It's almost a free win every time.
You shine brightly.
So I think during this fight, I'm paying attention to his board, and I see that his Samira is leveled up, but she only has 2 items. So I'm already anticipating on the carousel that he's going to want another AD item for her. So I do a quick look around. See, there's an Infinity Edge and a Guard Breaker. He's probably going to want one of them. I think he wants the Infinity Edge because he's angling towards it. So if you do your movements just right, you could always beat your opponent to that whatever unit it is in the order. It always looks close when you're racing towards it, but if you're at the bottom, you could always beat them to it. Or if it's coming towards you, you could always beat them towards it. As long as you move perfectly.
I love a challenge.
The Guard Breaker is actually... Honestly, I think the Guard Breaker is better on Samira, just because she has that Executioner emblem. And so a little bit of the stats are just worse. Or wasted on Eye-Edge. But I really wanted the Infinity Edge on my Xayah as well. And I kind of just wanted to deny him for fun. It's a little bit of a thing, but yeah. Zach pulls out the dub. Easy victory. Puts us in Masters. That Grandmaster player in the lobby went 8th. I went 1st. GG's, boys. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.